I thought this new Venom card looked familiar. Turns out Venom Lethal Protector is just Gitrog Ravenous Ride's older brother. See, both are hasty tramplers and want to sacrifice creatures. Gitrog caring about the creature's power, while Venom cares about a creature's mana value. Both getting you more and more value the bigger and bigger thing that you sacrifice. See, both of these get us into a value cascade, getting more and more benefit from cheating out big beefy creatures and cheating out even better big beefy permanents. Do you think that there's a potential in Venom as a commander? Sound off in those comments. And I keep referring to just Venom, even though he's got another side to him, Eddie Brock. The thing is, Eddie here isn't great, letting us save a 1 mana value permanent from the graveyard. If you want to get a Soul Ring back or save a Stitcher's Supplier for another round of milling, I guess this works, but here's the neat thing. See, even though you can pay to transform Eddie, this is actually a modal double-faced card, or MDFC. You've seen these before, like the MDFC spell lands, but those lock you into using one side or the other. Here we get to choose and can switch if we want. That's right, and I bet you missed that. This isn't a transform card like a werewolf, despite being able to transform. You could, if you choose, ignore Eddie Brock entirely and only play Venom as Venom, the secret power held within these Spider-Man flip cards. But by playing Venom as the true commander of this deck, it gives us a goal: sacrifice big creatures, specifically creatures with high mana values, in order to draw a boatload of cards and get a free replacement permanent into play. Simple, right? But how are we going to get creatures with higher mana value than our commander into play before our commander? Certainly we won't be doing things the slow, boring way, right? No. We're going to cheat. We're going to sneak attack in baddies for a single mana. We're going to discount the cost of our creatures so we can pay just a mana or 2 for them instead of hard casting them, and we're going to reanimate thick dummies so we can send them back to the graveyard. This way we're paying less for maximum benefit. In many cases, drawing 8 to 10 cards and getting a free replacement permanent from among them directly into the battlefield for just a mana or 2. And I call this a value cascade because if things happen once, if you get to sacrifice a creature once to Venom, you can go wild with it. Discarding cards to hand size fuels our plan further, making creatures cheaper to cast, and lets us do the same thing every turn. The end goal being to attack with a huge, safe commander and have all of our resources at our disposal. You can't spell value without Jund, I think. Let's look at our first option for cheating out big booty baddies: sneak attack. Since Venom has something over Gitrog, that being red mana, it lets us use options like sneak attack to pay just a single mana for something that normally costs 10 mana. We don't need to attack with it, just sacrifice it to Venom. It's going to be sacrificed anyway, why not get more value from it? And if not sacrificed to Venom, we can sacrifice it to a greater good to at least draw cards equal to its power. And with options like Death's Presence, our creatures dying is an even bigger benefit to us. Moving counters onto other creatures or our commander is a way to keep the value train flowing. Take someone out with that Birds of Paradise with 13 counters on it. It's fun. But that's just one card, one option. How about we aim for something more reliable? We could pack the deck with creatures that discount themselves. Ghalta or Molten Monstrosity love seeing Venom in play as a way to get their cost down to just 1 or 2 mana, where Ancient Stone Idol or Primeval Protector care about the creatures your opponents have in play to get cheap fast. With Orescale Guardian, Fungal Colossus, and Rumbleweed caring about lands in play or in the graveyard. But the biggest opportunity is filling our graveyard with creatures. Nemesis of Mortals, Avatar of Woe, and Hollow Marauder all get cheaper based on creatures in our graveyard, which we can control pretty easily. So does Writhing Necromass, Ghoul Tree, and Diamond Weapon, all coming down just 1 to 2 mana with a few creatures in the yard. And let's not forget about Molder Hulk or Hulkburster Swarm either. These are all creatures that cost 8 to 12 mana, but we only pay 1 to 2 mana for in the end. That's value. Paying 1 mana to draw 8 cards and put an 8 mana permanent into play? Now we're talking. And if that's part of our game plan, we're going to want ways to mill cards efficiently and effectively, ideally controllable too. From Skull Prophet, Mages of the Wheel, and Stitcher's Supplier on the low end of the curve, and creatures like Aftermath Analyst, Grim Flayer, and Nyx Weaver all getting us some reliable ways to put creatures into the graveyard from our libraries. Faithless Looting, Buried Alive, and Peer Past the Veil on a one-time basis lets us pitch big beefy boys from our hand or tutor them directly to the yard. Or the Surveil lands, letting us potentially rip a creature off the top and dump it straight into the bin for effective efficiency. All the way to Palantir of Orthanc, Ripples of Undeath, and Cemetery Tampering on an ongoing basis. These all fill our yard, with each creature in the graveyard acting as a cost discounter for some of our biggest and best creatures. Once we're able to cast one massive monster on the cheap and sacrifice it to Venom, we can then use it to replace itself, dropping another big creature into play. Any extra card in hand we can pitch to the yard to fuel this strategy too, getting bigger and bigger for cheaper and cheaper every turn. Notably, I haven't included any hand size related cards in the build because we want to be discarding to hand size. That's the point here. Anyone jamming a Thought Vessel, Decanter of Endless Water, or Reliquary Tower into a Venom deck is doing things the hard way. This path is a direct synergistic overlap with our third way to cheat in big creatures, Reanimation. See, if we're milling creatures, there are resources we can continue to use, paying just 2 or 3 mana for a Persist, Victimize, or Animate Dead, then attacking with Venom to eat those creatures and continue the value spiral through our entire libraries. Which is where I really like the new Zoo Effete. This legend out of Edge of Eternities is simple. It taps to reanimate a creature as a vanilla skeleton, but that vanilla skeleton keeps properties like power, toughness, and importantly, mana value. Venom could be eating a Ghalta over and over again, and having been a T-Rex itself before, I'm sure this is something Venom would love to do in canon as well. Oversold Cemetery, another personal favorite of mine, is a way to keep bringing back sacrificed bodies. Returning a card from your graveyard to hand is card advantage, but returning a card from the graveyard to the battlefield is even better, as Virtue of Persistence is the perfect card to dump into play for free off of a Venom trigger. Get the biggest and best creature back from the yard every turn and burn through your library quickly. Yes, there are some moving parts to this strategy, but it works and it works well. It's a value engine that gets you value in order to get you more value, all upside. This version that I've put together is not cheap, ignoring the fact that Eddie/Venom is pre-ordering for an eye-watering $100 right now. I've also ensured that the mana base is ideal as well. Shock lands, Surveil lands, Bond lands. In a 3-color deck, it does a lot of good to ensure you can reliably hit all of your colors. I've stopped short of including fetch lands here too, largely because I want to include a saturation of basics to be fetched with some of our ramped spells. What if I were looking to beef up the list though? Let's look at the upgrade. And here's where I definitely make room for Ancient Tomb. Jumping a turn ahead on a land is definitely worth the life loss, and it's the first place I'd start for adding game changers. Entomb would be a great add too, for a chance to get a big beater turn 2, or even just dumping an Anger into the graveyard to give everything you control haste. Attacking with our big bodies is a perfectly viable plan to victory here. I'd cut Nyx Weaver or Skull Prophet to make room for it, but I'd be careful about cutting too many creatures from the deck. Delighted Halfling would make a solid add, with multiple legends in the list and Venom being uncounterable being a big boon. This is an easy swap for any other 1-mana dork for a bit of a boost. While Heroic Intervention would be a good gotcha effect in the list too, likely taking the place of Lightning Greaves, though that can make you a touch more vulnerable in the long run. We have other haste enablers, but that Shroud is awesome. Fortunately, Asceticism is in the list and makes for an excellent permanent to drop to a Venom trigger too. And there's room in the list for bigger and better payoff cards, better things to drop off of a Venom trigger, like a Skitterbeam Battalion, a Portal to Phyrexia, or the End Stone. Things that get you good benefits and more value out of the game, but might be a little costly to include in the base list. And if you're finding non-Venom card advantage tough, Sylvan Library is perfectly viable too. Since it can be played early, I'm more inclined to cut another mana dork for it, since it'll help smooth your land drops and likely draw you into better ramp options. But I would love to see what you're playing and how you plan on building a deck with Venom Lethal Protector. Let me know what cards you'd add to the list and drop a comment with your own brews for this Jund commander. My deck list is linked in the description below. And don't leave without checking out my sponsors like Card Conduit. They are hands down the easiest way to sell your individual Magic cards without the hassle of traditional buy listing. They'll get you top dollar while handling all of the heavy lifting, from sorting to grading to optimizing your price across a huge network of vendors. And they'll give you cold hard cash for it. You can use the promo code MECHANIC right now for 10% off of all fees. If you're looking for a new deck box or playmat for any of your favorite commander decks, make sure to check out Bonebox Games. These strong and gorgeous deck boxes are the only ones I trust to protect my triple-sleeved, all-foil Too Many Gyrudas deck. You can use my code MECHANIC5 for 5% off your order at boneboxgames.com. And while you're there, take a look at their classic Decay deck box, now back in stock. Bonebox Games, gear with a backbone. And if you want to pick up the cards for this list, make sure to go check out Card Trader. Use my promo code MECHANIC right now for 5% off your order from any TCG. Card Trader's zero system means you can get cards from all over the world with only one shipping fee. Save money and time today. Lastly, you can check out all of my decks on MOXFIELD. MOXFIELD is the best deck building platform in the world and makes it easy to build decks and search for specific cards with their powerful tools. Have you checked out their drag and drop feature yet? It's revolutionary. Be sure to check out my brews and follow my profile there right now. If you were inspired to brew today, you have to hit that subscribe button. Check out this other deck on my channel right now for more sweet tech. And as always folks, good luck and have fun.